I have participated previously in the county government budgeting process, yes, at the ward level.
I've been very much actively at the county level.
I attended one in a school, primary school, where they were doing the county specific strategy paper, CFSP, and I managed to interact with the document. Of course, there are questions that any normal citizen will ask.
Once at the county level.
Like agriculture, health.
We also have various sectors. We have the agricultural, we have education, we have health.
No, that agriculture, livestock and fishery is a sector. We have a sector in energy. Trade is also a sector, among other sectors.
At the national level, we are still spending over 80% of our money at the national level. Some of the things that we really care about, like in education, things to do with security, are still seated at the national level. So our discussion today will focus on the national level because we feel that it's also important for us as a country and as people who are working in different counties to also keep an eye on what is happening at the national level. Because some of the things that we hold very dear and some of the things that we consider priorities to us, those things are still discussed at the national level. The budget of those items are still passed by the National Assembly. So we need to know what is happening, when these things happen, when the decisions are made, what kind of decisions are being made, so that we know when is the best time for us to engage and what are the opportunities that exist for the public to engage with the national government budget process. One of the most important decisions that is made at the national level is a decision about how much money we are going to give to each sector. Okay? It's a decision about how much money should go to agriculture versus how much money should go to education. How much money should go to security versus how much money should go to governance, justice, law and order. Okay, so that decision is made around February. Around February, there's a discussion that happens at the National Assembly level, and there is a document that is tabled at that time that is very critical for us, and I would like us to keep this in mind. There's a document called a budget policy statement. A budget policy statement, even from just that middle word, the policy part, is where we are actually deciding as a country what are the policies that we want to fund in the next financial year, and of those things, how much will it cost to actually do them. The budget policy statement is the point where we make a decision of, do we want to give more money to agriculture than education? Do we want to give more money to infrastructure than security? That is the right time when this decision is made. Moved from 2,000 mothers to 3,000 mothers next year. Then it's very easy for us to say, of the 100 million shillings we gave you, did you actually increase the number of mothers who are delivering in hospital from 2,000 to 3,000? So we have improved a little bit in terms of how our budgets are structured.
A sector is a collection of ministries, departments, agencies that do a similar thing. As I have said, sectors are broad categorizations. So when you go within the sector, there will be smaller ministries and departments and agencies. Each of them requires money. So when you are deciding how much money should I give to one sector, to A, B, C, D, E, F, up to 10, you need to set a ceiling. That's the process we are currently in at the national level. Every department in government has been doing certain work, and certain allocations have been allocated to them for purposes of just making sure that they are running. Priorities have to do with what is the priority for the coming year, and what should be given much more focus in the coming year. What do you think are the critical priorities?
Health.
Health, why?
Security and education.
What do you think is, why is source of funding important?
The government has to know where it will get the money to fund a particular project. Will it be paid by the donors? Will it be a loan, or will it be from the taxes? So the source of funding must be known.
Trade-off, if I can explain it in the simplest term, ni ya kwamba it is not that you can do A without B. You need both A and B. It's a question of where do you put more emphasis? And that is informed by two things. One, your approach, whether it is on human capital versus physical capital. It's simply an approach. So social security has to do with not just the physical security of property, but it has to do basically with the safeguarding of well-being. What do I mean by this? Ya kwamba kama wewe ni mzee, ama wewe ni mtoto, ama wewe ni mlemavu, you have an opportunity to live a decent life. To make contributions about how much money should we allocate to one sector or another, we need to remember that all these things matter.
All of you know that the censoring period 10 years ago did not budget for the 1,000 students that have come in due to that school. Was it Tomboya? Yes. So that would mean if there are more students, there's more housing, the town grows, and with the poor waste management system we have in this county, that would mean that there's improper littering, there's burning, which is impacting on us, especially in matters of climate change. So the e-waste management mechanisms, it is an emerging issue because in a very direct way it affects us. There's environmental degradation. So the mechanisms should be put in place to curb such things. We should not prioritize on infrastructure, and we are not looking at what infrastructure can do to us. In as much as it has its good, it also affects us as a people.
Some of the main activities here include payment of teachers, free primary education, issuing student loan, maintaining low-cost boarding school and mobile schools. It's from the fees from the universities, the examination council and others. The State Department of Basic Education receives most of the grants and loans from other sectors. That is also source of AIA.
I'm also trying to look at this very department in terms of the 4 pillars that the national government is currently talking about. That the big four. Mm-hmm. Housing is part of it. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at it, it was 1 billion. Maybe in the next budget it's going to be even 20.
Why?
I'm just saying.
And what is wrong if it is 20? At what point do we have the shilling being strong? So to me, those are factors. And of course, okay, that is positive factors, but there could also be other factors.
Then why was it allocated the following year?
Yes.
The reason is, one of the things that the national has not done, or the national government has not done well, however much they have transferred functions, but they don't follow it. Are you understanding? They have transferred functions, but they've not transferred
the funds.
Resources. Yes. So probably the first round of allocation, the assumption was money to afford it. And that is why so many of these governors were like, we put affordable houses, which they never did. The national government have done very well in terms of purporting to have transferred what? Functions. But they've not transferred what? Resources. So, my thinking is this. I have 2 schools of thoughts. First, and this is a political thought anyway, the first 5 years people were putting up structures. That's very political. People were putting structures to be functional. And probably that is why they never did what? They never put money for that.
When you look at the State Department for Petroleum, then we have the State Department for Energy. Actually, these 2 sectors that are started duplicating themselves.
So what in it?
Because when you look at this one, exploration and distribution of oil and gases, then you look at the other one up there, general administration, planning and support services, given 1 billion. Exploration of oil and gases given 5 billion. Could these 2 things be merged into one? That's an all-encompassing. Power generation is there. That is exploration. If we use wind energy, other sources of energy. So at least maybe they will give us details on this, but we have a bit of duplication of roles in these 2.
We have two functions in education sector that are devolved. We have the ECD and the youth polytechnic. Has the county government done enough to improve these two devolved programs of education? The little that the county government is getting, are they doing enough with that small they are getting to improve? I'm talking out of experience in this because I see the situation of my ECD school back at home.
Most of these departments in IAA, you need education. From basic to tertiary education, for you to be employed in the Department of Energy, for you to be employed in the AII department, you need basic education. So if we invest more on education, every other department, including the IAA, will just fall in place.
Like, we're talking of education, right? We have trained engineers, we have teachers, and we have doctors. Yet we don't have infrastructure. Now that's my why. Because we train them, yet we are not utilizing the resource. So to me, I was saying that infrastructure is the core to any economic development.
Education is 70%.
70%?
That's an independent opinion. 70%. And why would I give education 70%? If we look at the analysis that has been provided from this document as far as the education sector is concerned, one of the things we have done in Justice in is allocation of is allocation of research, which to me plays a very, very important role. Now, yesterday something happened in this country. I don't know whether the surgeons who decided to operate around us. Yes. Now, what does that mean? There is a problem in that sector. We need qualified men and women. Somebody is asking about engineers. You know, one of the things I've studied for a very long time, immediately KCP or KCSE results zinatoka, everyone is saying I want to be a civil engineer, industrial chemist, but when they go to those colleges, I don't know where they disappear. So somebody must have not invested rightly in that.
Education leads to the research. With education, there is also service delivery. That is, salaries will be given. There is administration and operations. And we are looking at how much, what proportion should be given into research, salaries, administration and operations. And then we are looking at energy, infrastructure, and ICT, which supports all of this. I'm looking at, when I look at infrastructure and energy, I'm looking at roads, I'm looking at buildings, I'm looking at power, I'm looking at everything that supports the people who will be taking what? Part in the research. So I will say if I was to give 70, then I will be taking 70 to energy and infrastructure. That is where my argument is. Because we're looking at how supportive. We need, yes, we do need, education needs an allocation. According to me, the allocation that they need is will be consumed, and it's on salaries and it's on research. And it's all on administration and operations. But then again, when we're looking at roads, how much of it do we have? We need to access either the health facilities, we need to access educational centers, we also need to have more buildings, we also need to build more ICT hubs, we also need to have more power supplied into these areas.
If you look at education and the energy sectors, the energy sector absorbs a lot of young people because it has a lot of informal sectors.
Relation to Gen 60. More for education.
Yeah, energy for education 60.
Okay, that's one of them.
Energy 60, education 40.
Yeah,
If you look at the units, the spending units under energy and infrastructure, they are numerous, and if you look at them, none of them you can rubbish. They are all critical in the economy. While when we go to the education, we find that the biggest chunk goes to remuneration of teachers. Yeah, so when we allocate education more, it means that we'll have, when the Teacher Service Commission will find itself with the surplus, then it will give increments to teachers, which actually does not have a direct impact on the development of the society.
I'm not happy with the allocation that the government is directing towards road safety. 2016-2017, they are allocating 1 billion. This year, they are still allocating another 1 billion. Yet, we've had a series of accidents within our roads. So I was expecting that this year, the allocation will be increased. Yeah.
This sector is not doing well in their planning. There's poor planning here. Because you look at the allocation given to planning, in all the departments is higher, it's very high. But in terms of if you look and compare the ceilings of the previous budget to the next, you realize there's some sectors that are supposed to be active are failing, and they have an increase. So it's not doing well.
If you look at alternative energy technologies, we still have 1-1. So this one simply shows that despite the fact that the allocation has been reduced, we still have the same alternative. So they should have given more to the alternative energy.
Education, the basics, the reduction is being done, and the difference is very big. Then it means you're not putting more into the foundation of our young people. Then you come to tertiary, then you realize the university is being given more priority. Don't forget, the universities they have limits. Not all join universities. The rest who fall back do not join university. They need to go to vocational trainings, which has the least 2% allocation. Then it means we are living a young, and what we preach, the youth, the younger people are the majority of this nation, and we need human power.
I was proposing it to be 50-50. The reason is because the two sectors, maybe the three, energy, ICT, and infrastructure and education, I realize they are critical for economic development. In fact, they are the drivers for sustainable economic growth.
We start with the first one. How many would like us to allocate 40 to energy and 60 to education? I show of hands. 50-50. 50-50.
Social protection, culture and recreation. A higher percentage than governance. Why? Because it has few departments that touch human life. All the departments directly touch human life.
We give social protection, culture and recreation more percentage because the MBAs, it has few MBAs that touch
all of them
human lives.
60 for social protection and 40 for governance.
As from the table, we realize that a lot of allocation has been given to governance, and you still hear people crying over injustices. Corruption has not been brought to book. Crime is almost everywhere. So it is like a lot of money is given, is pumped here, and these people are underperforming.
There's this culture and tourism. Tutakuwa na wageni wengi. We'll have a lot of visitors. It will be productive. We'll have visitors. Number of tourists will increase. Youths youths, women will be empowered through these funds.
Social protection, culture and recreation 35%, and governance, justice, law and order 65%. We were, in our assessment of the discussion, we realized that with the strength and good governance, prevailing justice within law and order, certain aspect of social protection and culture and recreation become self-initiate for positive human development. The allocations are low on certain departments of governance, DJO, and there's more reason for those commissions to adequate, because they could be underperformed because of inadequate funding. So for them to realize their mandates, and because, for example, if it is a commission that is supposed to come to the ground, talk to the people, and there is no funding enough to do that, they'll sit and wait if there is any money to be put to them. So those things lie just like that. So more funding needs to be given to them.
Justice, law and order, we gave 60. Governance, justice, law and order has more critical functions and spending units than social protection, culture and recreation. The institutions which deal with the rights, like the Kenya National Human Rights Commission, which we saw that was heavily underfunded, and National Cohesion and Integration Commission, which we also saw that with increased fundings for the social protection, governance, justice, law and order, it will, the rights of the citizens, it will spend more on this kind of critical duties which protects the rights of citizens.
For governance, justice, law and order, we give it 70%. The GLO sector consists of 14 MDS, 20 semi-autonomous government agencies, and 15 tribunals that require a huge chunk of money for operation. So we give it that 70%. While the other sector, that is social protection, culture and recreation, has got only 6 departments, 6 MDAs and 20 SAGS. So we gave it 30%. For governance, justice and law, there were key priority issues that require funding. For instance, we saw security as a major factor, as a major element in governance that requires huge funding. Quite a big number of emerging issues in governance, justice, law and order that require immediate or rather adequate funding. A good example is, for instance, we are just migrating from an electioneering period. So we need key areas, key agencies like the National Human Rights Commission properly funded. We need more money for the judiciary to complete cases. We don't see much in emerging issues from the other sector, that is social protection, culture and recreation, and the recreation sector.
Number 1, social protection, culture and recreation, 60%. Governance, justice, law and order, 40%. Social protection, culture and recreation, it has direct impact to mwananchi, to our lives. It also consider, how do I put it? It considers all kinds of people, like the disabilities, the children, and if more resources are allocated to social protection, culture and recreation, there is improvement of knowledge and skills.
The social protection, culture and recreation sector, we gave 70. That department also entails the sport activities. And we said that through sports, talents are nurtured, same to skills. And so the youths are get what they can do, both for passion as hobbies and also for cash. We say that the money that is allocated for betting, that finance should be scrapped up, and the same amount should be used to promote research in social protection, culture and recreation sector, so that it can help in effective planning and the support for that sector.
High cost of living. Remember, there was a cash transfer for the person with disability and for the elderly. I think they were being given 2,000 shillings per month, and with the high cost of living, seriously, that one cannot be enough. So the allocation that's being channeled to them should also go up, yes. There are some departments in the governance, justice, and law and order that they have outlived their usefulness. Because like the ethics and anti-corruption, surely, they are not doing much. They're just doing a lot of talking, but no actions. And yet again, the allocation is being given to them. The protection of human rights and promotion of human rights, again, they're being given allocation, nothing much from them. Yes, betting and control board, nothing much from them. Promotion of gender equality and freedom. Honestly, that one again, just taking money, nothing.
The two sectors, apart from funding from the budget, can have self-funding. For example, SPCR, talent. On talent, we felt that talent is self-paying, and if you get to that level where your talent goes international, you can give back to the society, and that is a source of funding. And then the other organizations, NGOs, have also invested on that sector, and other sectors within the government, like the National Government Affirmative Act Fund. So they get funding from all over, and that balances. The second reason, the other department, which is the GJLO, also has funding from AIAs, for example, in the correctional facilities. I really don't like using that word because it does not live up to its name. So the correctional facilities, these guys make antiques. They make furniture, they sell them. I believe these products from the prisons, that money should come back and help these various departments. Two sectors are interwoven, hence the success from one sector ensures the success of the other. And the third reason is that the society or taxpayers are if they are socially protected, the rule of law will be upheld, vices curbed, and the need to allocate more on GJLO will lack relevance. If a society is socially protected, we won't need policemen to run around. People will be busy. We have libraries, guys are busy taking on sports activities, guys are busy in institutions, and our culture is, we are making culture look graceful. Like we are learning from other cultures, they are learning from us, and we tap it in a way that it can generate some sort of income from amongst us. So if that is the kind of setup we have in our society, we won't need correctional facilities and law enforcers on our backs. So that is why we felt the 50-50 allocation was relevant.
So why don't we just give an argument based on the fact that we've all unanimously agreed that the Department for Social Protection has got a higher budget allocation, and that should carry the day.
So we leave it at that and say these are the reasons that the different groups.
Yes, it is not a battle for supremacy.